In this video, I'm taking a look at all the playable races in Darkfall Rise of Agon, what they bring to the table and how they stack up. I'll be ranking them in two separate tier lists, one for the meta, and one purely for roleplay and fun, and just general vibes. This is obviously extremely subjective, so if you do disagree, let me know. If trying to read the text box of the racial traits has got you like this,
it's a tiny piece of paper.
I am going to go over their pros and cons, each of their abilities, their drawbacks, and I'm going to give you a decent overview from a brand new character. So here you can see all of the characters, all of the races, each of them a male, standing and looking around about the same place. I struggled to get them to look at the same place. Don't give me a hard time, I haven't taken my medication. It gives you an idea of the camera angle, of the height, how much your character takes up of the screen. And we have this dwarf in the corner for scale. First up we have the Mahirim, which is essentially a giant wolf person. When I say giant, I do really mean it. They're quite large. They're quite a popular race. People are attracted to them for personal reasons, but also it's fun to just be a giant wolf man. I think Mahirim might be one of the most controversial races because everyone has a different opinion. And I have a hard time with their size, I have to admit. I've tried playing them a little bit in the past, never a full character. You just seem to look down most of the time, which in melee is just unpleasant. Even if you can look up, they have slightly higher reach to offset some of their issues. And let's talk about their racial abilities. Extra stamina, faster run, and more protections, which you can see in the paper doll here. I think it's 1.5. I should clarify that the extra run speed applies to the walking, which is mainly used for strafing left and right, which I failed to get good footage of because I was under the impression it was different run speed. But anyway, yeah, so here's some footage of them these Mahirim just hitting and shooting bows. With the melee footage you could tell, I was looking down a lot. Even though they have higher reach, I was looking down. The upside is that you can shoot down at things, especially with AoE spells. Hit the floor more, so you've got more reliable DPS. You can often just see over people's heads as well, sometimes kind of nice. A lot of it depends on your style. I think for a mage it's better, just being able to look down at people. I've never quite gotten over their enormous size. It blocks a lot of vision, I'm always looking down. But if you enjoy them as a race, for whatever reason, I'm not judging, they have a lot of fun roleplay. You know, they make great sounds, even if they're extremely loud. They're just imposing figures. There is a reason they have extra melee and archery protection, and that's because they're so easy to hit. It's a simple fact, and for that reason, they're just not going to be very high on any list I'm going to make. But this will probably get the most flack, I think. I'm putting the Mahirim in the C category just because when it comes to playing them, they're just too big, too clunky, and while they're mechanically, the traits are quite good, protections and faster strafing, I don't think it makes up for it. For the roleplay, easy A. Not my style, but I can see why people enjoy them. Next up is the Orcs. These are my favourite, just purely on vibes. I love the whole aesthetic. I hate their terrain, their homeland in the northeast. It's desolate and depressing and pretty poorly thought out, but overall I love them, but mechanically not so much because they're still pretty big. They're just a little smaller than the Mahirim. They have increased reach compared to some of the other smaller races, and they have the best emotes. They have Orcish Brutality, which increases their damage with melee weapons by about 1. Please correct me if I'm wrong. They have increased backpack capacity, 15 kilograms, and increased health. I'm not sure of the number. Someone tell me. Orcs are perhaps one of the least common of the races you see running about. Perhaps that changed. Who knows? As you can see in the melee, you still have to look down a little bit. They are quite chunky, especially in the upper body. They still benefit from looking down a slight amount, not the entire amount you would get from a Mahirim. But I really enjoy orcs as a race. They have great sounds. You gotta listen to them eat. It's like nom 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 nom. They have very loud emotes, and they're quite loud in general. Which it's fun sometimes. Their melee damage helps quite a bit in jousting. PvE is quite good. Can't complain. Give an orc some daggers. But their health and backpack capacity is take it or leave it. Eventually you get max health, so it's redundant. But overall, big fan of the orcs. I've played them the most, I think, and I'm devastated not to be playing them in this version, as I have switched to human female because they're smaller. For the orcs, I'm going to put them in B. I think, especially with the female, with the smaller model, they're quite viable in melee and as destroyers. They aren't quite as chunky as the Mahirim, but I still think their size holds them back. And in the roleplay aspect, S tier from me, 100%, no doubt. I love all their emotes, I love their sounds, their animations, their armor, everything. Try them out. And here we have the Mdane, which are elves. Just a funny way to say elves. They're pretty much exactly what you'd expect. Their homeland is tree-based. A lot of their settlements are in trees. Homeland's quite good. Bit taller, quite slender. Their crosshair actually kind of sticks out of their chest, which you'll see. Mdanes get extra stamina, further view distance, and increased bow damage. So for the view distance, you can see here as an orc, it caps out here. But as a Mdane, it just keeps going a little further. And admittedly, this footage isn't the best. The extra view distance is quite nice. You can see people's names, their alignment, their clan, their stance, before they can see you, unless they're also a Mdane. This is useful to have in a party. One Mdane, what do your elven eye see? That is just a little thing they have. Their bow thing is nice, especially for PvE, but also anyone that enjoys archery is going to see benefit from that for sure. Their frame is tall. As you can see, the crosshair is kind of in the neck or in the chest area. So it does feel a bit of looking down sometimes. In the tier list, A. They've got no real downside. They're tall, so they get to look down a bit. They're slender, so you can see a lot of your screen. They're not super easy to hit. They got nice racial abilities. Yeah, A. Roleplay-wise, I think they're pretty generic, but some people enjoy the elven style. I'll have to put them in a B. I have played Dwarf before. In the Rise of Agon beta, I played a Dwarf female. And very enjoyable. Wide, stocky guys, but overall not the worst. They do have some unique abilities, actually. There's one that increases their stamina efficiency, I believe. I don't have any footage of it because you have to unlock it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But overall, dwarves have a great vibe. They have crafting abilities, which helps with that side. But every single dwarf you see, I can guarantee you, is a role player at heart. There's a lot of pride and they enjoy it. And the crafting bonuses help with that whole identity. The racial abilities are extra health, increased durability of crafted weapons and armor, and they have a unique melee ability called Dwarven Perseverance, which I think increases their stamina efficiency. And like I said, All dwarves are role players. Just look at this guy right here. Sees a dwarf, starts hopping about, reacts to the shield. You just know there's a brotherhood there, with no words spoken whatsoever. And overall, I like the dwarves. They're low to the ground. You can see quite a bit. They're stocky, which is fun. They look good in armor, and they don't have the same drawbacks as Mahirims and orcs. I'm going to put dwarves at a C. I was debating a B, definitely a C+. So I put them here. Because while they're not quite as bad as the orc size, they don't have much in combat stuff. The Dwarven Perseverance, I'd love to see it in action. Maybe it'll bump them up. But for now, I'm going to put them at C. And for roleplay, S. Yeah, it's got to be an S. While I'm not a dwarf rock and stone guy myself, I very much see the appeal. Humans doesn't get more generic, but safe pick. Very safe and reliable. They start in Sanguine, that's their homelands, decent homelands. It's all blue now. They are good sized. They feel like the default to me. And their racial abilities give them no real power. And I think they're the most common by far. Even in the original, they were the most common, and now they seem equally common. And I have to admit, I have gone to the dark side, and I'm playing a human female because it just feels the most mechanically natural. So you can probably tell where I'm leaning on the tier list already. Let's go over their abilities. Humans benefit from extra mana, increased duration of magical buffs, and increased duration of food. And these increases aren't insignificant. Probably about 50% is my guess, without math. Oh gods, I hate math. They are the most generic, like I said, but they have a great model, brilliant camera angle. Their abilities, while they don't give them power, like actual raw power, such as the Orc, extra damage, the Mahirim's extra defense, it's not an increase like that, but it is very nice. It might even save you here and there, just having an extra couple of minutes of food or buffs. So far, playing a human, I have enjoyed it because you spend 90% of your time, you know, farming, dueling, whatever. And so I do believe it should look good. You should be comfortable doing it. Sadly, they are very boring. It's basically playing yourself. Nothing fun about them. They have basic emotes, basic armor. Nothing that makes them stand out. Humans have to go at S tier for me. They just seem to be the default. The game almost feels designed around them. Everything just works. A lot of the best players are human. Most people you see are human. They're doing something right. As far as the fun factor, I have to put them in D. I really do. They're the most basic, simple. Who goes to play a fantasy game and plays a human? And finally, we have the Alfar. They are the Dark Elves of Agon, and they're oozing with flavor, quite good at lots of things. The first thing you might notice about them is they're tiny. They're the smallest race in the game. Alfars gain extra mana, increased durability of crafted staffs, increased magical defenses, 1.5. They're squirrely little guys, the Alfar. Small, hard to see. I wish I filmed this during the night time, but they are quite difficult to track in darker clothing and environments. Being small and little has its downsides. They have shorter reach. I wish I could show it in action, but I imagine quite significant amount. You feel it a lot when you play it. Not when killing goblins per se, but in PvP, sticky backing, it's slightly more difficult to benefit from melee. But of course, having extra magical defenses makes you a powerhouse at range. So over a fight, you accumulate a lot of defense, a lot of extra hit points saved. And this is more pronounced for things like AoEs. such as Volcano and Thunderstorm. Alpha is quite fun to play. You're not looking up at everyone like you would think. You feel like a survivor when you play Alfar. You're a squirrely little guy with extra defense. Give him a go. Finally, the Alfar, I believe, belongs in S tier. Simply because they have small frame, small hitbox, hard to hit and track. And on top of all that, they have increased defense. So even when you do hit them, it's not as effective. And for roleplay, Alfar, I'm gonna put them in A. I think they've got a lot of personality and identity of being the PvP race, because originally they could kill everyone, they had no allies, and I suppose in the future that would be the case again. So playing a little Alfar has its perks.